here. Thank you for your leadership, providing jobs. We're here at the largest manufacturer of road cones in the United States of America. And you know, that's kind of fitting because Washington, D.C. is a car wreck. We need to put cones around all of Washington, D.C. You know, all of us here, we're here because our country needs us. Because we're bankrupting our kids and grandkids. Because our constitutional rights are under assault, and because America has receded from leadership and rule. And yet I am here this morning with a word of hope and encouragement. People are waking up all across Wisconsin and all across this country. This next election will come down to three issues: jobs, freedom, and security. Let's talk about jobs. You know, it's real easy to talk about making America great again. You can even paint that on a baseball cap. But the real question is, do you understand the principles and values that made America great in the first place? The heart of our economy is not Washington, D.C. The heart of our economy is small businesses like this one all over the United States of America. You want to kill the economy, do what we've done the last 7 years, hammer the living daylights out of small businesses. You want to see the economy take off, lift the boot of the federal government off the back of the necks of small businesses. If I am elected president, we will repeal every word of Obamacare. It's the biggest job killer in America, and we're going to pass common sense health care reform that makes health insurance personal and portable and affordable and keeps government from getting in between us and our doctors. And we're going to pass a simple flat tax so that every American can fill out our taxes on a postcard. And when we do that, we should abolish the IRS. We're going to rein in the EPA and the federal regulators that are killing small businesses all over this country. And we're going to stop amnesty and secure the borders and end sanctuary cities and end welfare benefits for those here illegally. And when we do all of that, let me tell you what we're going to see. We're going to see millions and millions of new high-paying jobs, manufacturing jobs, like these jobs, coming back to America, coming back from China, coming back from Mexico. We're going to see wages going up for Americans all across Wisconsin and all across this country. And we're going to see young people coming out of school with 2, 3, 4, 5 job offers. It'll be morning in America. The second critical issue in this election is freedom. You know, just a few weeks ago, the passing of Justice Scalia really underscored the stakes of this election. It is not one, but two branches of the federal government that hang in the balance all of our liberties: religious liberty, free speech, privacy, the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. Every one of them is hanging in the balance. Now, you know, a couple of debates ago, we got asked a question about religious liberty in the Supreme Court. And Donald Trump turned to me, he said, "Ted, I've known a lot more politicians than you have." Well, in that he is correct. Donald Trump has been supporting liberal Democratic politicians for 40 years. I have no experience with that. But Donald went on to to say, Ted, when it comes to the Supreme Court and religious liberty, you got to learn to compromise. You got to learn to cut deals with the Democrats and go along to get along. Well, let me be very, very clear to the men and women of Wisconsin. I will not compromise away your religious liberty. And I will not compromise away your Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. The third critical issue in this election is security. All of us were horrified at the terrorist attack this week in Brussels. And it wasn't an isolated attack. It wasn't a lone wolf. It was an act of global jihad being waged by radical Islamic terrorists. And for 7 years, we've had a president who abandons our friends and allies and who shows weakness and appeasement to our enemies. Now again, 2 debates ago, Donald Trump explained if he were president, he would be neutral between Israel and the Palestinians. Well, let me be very, very clear. As president, I will not be neutral. America will stand unapologetically with the nation of Israel. And if you cannot tell the difference between our friends and our enemies, if you cannot tell the difference between Israel and Islamic terrorists who want to murder us, then that raises real questions about your fitness and judgment to be commander-in-chief. Over the last 7 years, we've seen our military weakened. We've seen our readiness undermined. We've seen morale of the troops plummet. And you know, as a nation, we've seen this before. We've seen another left-wing Democratic president, Jimmy Carter, weaken and undermine the military. And then in January 1981, Ronald Reagan came into office. And what did Reagan do? He cut taxes, he lifted regulations, small businesses exploded. We saw millions of new high-paying jobs. It generated trillions in new federal revenue, and Reagan used those trillions to rebuild the military, which bankrupted the Soviet Union and won the Cold War. I intend to do the exact same thing with radical Islamic terrorism. We're going to repeal Obamacare, pass a flat tax, rein in the regulators, stop amnesty, and we'll see millions and millions of new high-paying jobs. When we're back here in a couple of years, this factory is going to be twice the size with new jobs coming in, higher wages being paid, and that money is going to generate trillions in new government revenue, and we will use that money to rebuild this military so it remains the mightiest fighting force on the face of the planet. And no longer will our military be governed by political correctness. If you are a jihadist, then hear my words. In January 2017, your day of reckoning is coming. Because we're coming after you, and we're not coming after you to sit down and negotiate. We're not coming after you to arrest you and read you your rights. If you are waging jihad and trying to murder Americans, we are coming to kill you. Wisconsin is a battleground. This election, right now in Wisconsin, is neck and neck. Donald Trump and I are effectively tied in the state of Wisconsin. And it is the men and women here, it is each and every one of you picking up the phone and calling your friends and your family and your loved ones and saying, this election matters. That's how we do it. It took Jimmy Carter to give us Ronald Reagan. And I am convinced the most long-lasting legacy of Barack Obama is going to be a new generation of leaders in the Republican Party who stand and fight for freedom, who stand and fight for the Constitution, and who stand and fight for the Judeo-Christian values that built this great nation. And with that, I'm happy to answer or dodge any question you like. Yes, ma'am. Thank you very, very much. For those of y'all who couldn't hear, she very kindly said she and her coworker made calls all day volunteering. Thank you. It is your work, your passion, your love for this country that is going to turn this country around. Thank you. So it's a great question. The question is what to do about Social Security, and in particular how personal accounts work. Let me address the issue broadly, and I'll include within the answer the specific answer to your question. What we're doing with Social Security right now, I think, is profoundly irresponsible. We've got politicians in both parties who are kicking the can down the road and refusing to step up and lead. We need strong leadership to strengthen and preserve Social Security, and that's what I'll do as president. Now, how do we do it? 4 principles should govern Social Security reform. The first, for seniors, for those on Social Security or near retirement, there should be no changes whatsoever, nothing. We've made promises. People have ordered their financial affairs counting on those promises, and we need to honor our commitments to the letter. But for younger workers, look, I'm 45. It is hard to find someone my generation who thinks Social Security will be there for us. Now that is a tremendous opportunity for reform. When you've got younger generations that understand that politicians are bankrupting Social Security, it gives us an opportunity to step up and fix it. For younger workers, we ought to follow 3 principles. Number 1, for younger workers, we should gradually raise the retirement age to recognize that people are living longer, to give younger workers the time to plan on it and to save accordingly. Number 2, for younger workers, we ought to change the rate of growth of Social Security benefits so that it matches inflation rather than exceeding inflation. Now, those 2 changes for younger workers bring Social Security into solvency. It fixes the problem. But the third change that is critical is for younger workers, we ought to be able to keep a portion of our tax payments in a personal account that we own, that we control, like a 401k, that we can give to our kids and grandkids. And to pay for it all, you've got to do all of those together. You can't just do the personal accounts without the remainder of the reforms, but we know how to fix this. What's missing is the political leadership, the courage, because anytime you step up and try to do something, you get demagogued. I think the American people are ready for leadership, and I intend to provide that leadership.
Why are they allowing Trump to define whether there's a debate or not?
You know, it's a great question. The question is there going to be a debate, and why does Trump get to do it? Listen, Trump is scared. It ain't complicated. Trump didn't mind the early debates. When you have 10 people on stage, and it's a bunch of bickering school children, and when you've got 30 seconds to give an answer, anyone can give a 30-second answer. You can read 3 talking points in 30 seconds and you're done. But Donald has a real problem. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He has utterly no idea. You know, one of the earlier exchanges, as the field has gotten smaller, Donald's done worse and worse and worse because he gets a little bit more time, and when he runs beyond 30 seconds, you can kind of see his eyes open up a little bit. He's like, I don't know anymore on this. I mean, look, this is a man who, when he was asked what would you do on health care, he kept saying, well, the lines around the states, the lines around the states. What are you talking about? I don't know. They told me to say the lines around the states. You know, when you talk about jobs, he's very good at saying jobs have gone overseas. He's right. And then you ask, all right, Donald, how are you going to fix it? No idea. It's just going to be great. It's just going to be great. I'm going to wave a magic wand and it's going to be great. Well, I'm sorry, Donald, we don't live in Wonderland. You know, if your car is broken down, do you want to bring a guy over to stand in the driveway and yell and scream and curse at your car? Or do you actually want someone to lift the hood and fix the darn thing? You know, Donald on the economy, his idea is put a 45% tariff on all imported goods. Now, tariff is a tax. So he's saying to everyone here, he's going to put a 45% tax on you. When you go to the store, when you're buying diapers, when you're buying clothes for your kids, when you buy your next car, take the price and increase it by 45%. That's disastrous. Look, people are struggling already. You want to jack up the cost of living by 45%. And not only that, the immediate response to that is all of our trading partners will put reciprocal tariffs on the other end, so then we stop selling abroad too. Last time we did that was called Smoot-Hawley. It helped contribute to the Great Depression. And there's a much better solution. My flat tax plan, which we've laid out in real detail something Donald doesn't do. Real detail lets every American fill out their taxes on a postcard. If you go to the website, tedcruz.org, you can see the real postcard. Typical family of four, first $36,000 you earn, you pay nothing. No income tax, no payroll tax, no nothing. Above that, every dollar above that you earn, you pay a simple, flat 10% tax. It's fair and even. No longer are billionaires paying less than each of us. And on the business side, let me talk about the business side. On the business side, we abolished the corporate income tax.